Welcome once again to Jimbo's BBQ Haasienda. Simple, crowd pleasing recipes for your grill. I'm Jim Haas. Today we're going to do a grilled tri-tip. Oh, yeah! So what are we going to need for this? Tri-tip, which is the bottom portion of a sirloin. It's a triangular cut. It's big in California. Every barbecue restaurant on the West Coast is judged by their tri-tip. In the South, it's a little more challenging to find. Not impossible, but I did find it at Costco. I think a very underrated cut of meat. And then a seasoning of your choice. Now, when it comes to beef, my opinion, simpler the better. Salt and pepper will work just fine. I'm using a real simple salt, pepper, garlic blend. And let's get to it. It's important to mention that the grain of a tri-tip is unique in that it runs two different directions. I only point this out before we start the cooking process because the grain is easier to see when it's still raw. Here's a diagram of the directions the cut should be made after it's cooked. I'll show this diagram again near the end of the video when we're slicing it up. I find that if you buy your tri-tip from a grocery store, most of the time it's going to be pretty well trimmed. If you buy it from a specialty meat shop or a butcher, it may have some silver skin or a fat cap still attached. If that's the case, you want to trim the silver skin completely off, and in my opinion, trim the fat cap down to about 1/4 inch. If your tri-tip comes out of the grocery with the fat cap completely trimmed off, that's fine too. Let's get to seasoning. In my opinion, beef does not need a binder. I have learned the errors of my ways. You want to generously cover all sides of the meat. I usually coat the top and let it set up for about 10 or 15 minutes. Flip it over, do the other side. Remember, get all the edges as well. Allow the seasoning to adhere to the meat for at least 20 to 30 minutes. Time permitting, you can even put it back in the fridge for a couple hours. If you do put it back in the fridge, I will recommend pulling it out and letting it come closer to room temp for about 20 minutes or so before putting the meat on the grill. Time to preheat the grill. We're going to cook this indirectly at first and then finish it with a reverse sear. I'm going to light burners 1, 2, and 4, preheating on a high setting and leaving burner 3 completely shut off. If your grill has more or less burners, you can plan accordingly. As long as there's heat on each side of the tri-tip, you should be good to go. I recommend preheating the grill for at least 20 minutes. Now let's start this process. I'm placing the tri-tip directly over the unlit burner. Close the lid and let it go for about 15 minutes. At this point, we're going to do our first temp check just to give us a good idea of where we are in this process. After that, I recommend checking the internal temp every 10 minutes or so. For a medium rare finish, you're looking for an internal temp of 110 to 115. And for a medium finish, which I actually prefer for tri-tip, we're looking for an internal temp of 115 to 120 before we move it over to the direct flame and reverse sear it. After we reach the desired internal temp, we'll then move it over and reverse sear it over direct flame for about 4 to 5 minutes per side, giving it a nice crosshatch along the way. We should have a nice crust at this point. Now, time to rest this tri-tip. We want to move it off the grill and loosely wrap it in foil for about 15 to 20 minutes. During this time, the tri-tip will continue to cook and absorb the seasonings and those flavors. After resting, the internal temp should land right in the zone of your desired doneness. All right, moment of truth. We are rested. Let's get into it. So, very juicy, very, very juicy. Let's try not to spill that juice anywhere. So this is your tri-tip. Now, I'll show you that diagram one more time of the different grains and the way you should cut it. Again, this diagram is showing the direction the tri-tip should be sliced, not the direction of the grain. We're just going to go right down in half. Oh my, look at this. Feels very tender slicing into this. This is a nice medium finish. Now this half of the meat feels even more tender. All right, moment of truth. I'm going to take one from each side. There's something about tri-tip. It is so, there's no other way to explain it than extra beefy. It is just a great cut of meat. It's hard to beat this cut of meat. It really is. It's got that nice crust on the outside from the reverse sear. The inside is nice and tender. I'm just going to set this stuff right back in the juice and the foil and then wrap it up and enjoy this in a little bit. It's not like the tenderness of like a perfectly done ribeye. It is a little bit more firm, but there is a flavor it's just unmatched. So not only that, it's a very versatile cut of meat. You could use this in slice it up thin for sandwiches. You could do tacos. You could just slice it up, serve it on its own as a steak. Little barbecue sauce on the side. I mean, whatever you want to do. Actually, this way of doing it, even, you know, considering it's a gas grill and everything, this was so full of flavor and so juicy. Minimal seasoning really is all you need. But you know what? Go crazy. Do what you do. There you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Jimbo's BBQ Haasienda. I'm Jim Haas. Life is short. Eat well. Enjoy yourselves. Always listen to good music. And we'll see you next time. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for hanging once again. Bye-bye.